Yep, just that one more day of full campaigning, and of course this is the final Kenny report before Election Day after a campaign that's never really lifted off. The campaign has been disjointed, broken up by school holidays and long weekends, just as Anthony Albanese and Labor would have wanted, of course. The coalition started off poorly, holding back advertising and policies until the campaign was officially called, then backflipping on work from home and not calling out Labor's lies early enough. So the divide between the major parties hasn't been clear enough early enough. For all that, the coalition promises a change of direction, the chance to pull the nation back from the precipice, the fiscal cliff, the energy disaster, the out-of-control immigration, and of course the endless expansion of government that Labor has delivered. And Labor will lose ground at this election. Surely that will be the case. Australian voters are not silly enough to reward Labor for this terrible governance by giving them more seats, we hope. While armchair experts criticise the coalition campaign, there are other factors at play. The digital media environment, so much happening on social media and a polarised news media, have shrunk the public square. And from Labor, there's been blatant lies. If there was a theme for this election, it would be this.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, Labor decided that voters couldn't handle the truth about their record, so they went with lies. The PM this morning was clinging to the absolute balderdash that the coalition's nuclear energy plan would cost a whopping $600 billion.
I know you say that. It's not, mate. You're saying this all the time. It's not.
Yes, it is.
You know it's not. You know it's not.
I know it is.
You know it's not.
Hinkley.
No, it's not. You've been called out on this a lot.
No.
You have been.
No.
You have
600.
been. I've seen this a lot.
Hinkley,
in all the debates
Glenn,
you had, which has been 4, you keep saying 600 and you
because
keep
that's
getting
what the
called
figures
out on
are.
it.
Just incredible, shameless. $600 billion is a fictitious number cooked up by a renewable energy lobby group that donates to Labor. It's 5 times the estimate made by the CSIRO that's been backed up by Frontier Economics, and more than 50 scientific, economic and environmental experts who have signed a letter calling that figure false by a factor of 5. Yet Albanese continues to use it. This is disgraceful. But so hopeless has this Labor government been that its main campaign strategy is to scare people against the opposition. And their dishonest ads warning of cuts are premised on that false $600 billion figure. Still, according to the polls, it's worked, at least in part. Remember, this is what Labor promised last time.
Reducing power prices by $275 a year.
Now, that promise has been broken 4 or 5 times over as prices have increased instead by about $1,000 a year. Yet again, we see another Labor campaign based on lies. Albanese has been lying so much that he can't help himself.
Photos with everyone, okay?
Yeah, I'll go in the middle.
I stepped back 1 step. I didn't fall off the stage. Just one leg went down, but I was sweet.
It sounds like he's trying to convince himself, doesn't it? A bit like George Costanza.
Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah, there are many reasons we need a change of government, ending the expansion of government, controlling immigration and trying to get our economic management back on track. But even more important, in my view, is that at a time of great strategic risk, we can't have a PM who apologises for China, kowtows to Beijing and struggles to deal with our alliance partner, the US. It's telling and worrying that the allegations of Chinese political interference in this election campaign are all in support of Labor, the Teals and the Greens. In other words, there are efforts allegedly orchestrated by Beijing to keep Albanese in power. Secondly, and critically, there is the energy issue. If this election kills off a domestic nuclear energy industry or delays it for another decade or so, we'll all pay a heavy price. There's been no greater case of national economic self-harm than the way this country over the past 3 decades, under Labor and Liberal governments, state and federal, has surrendered its natural bounty of cheap, reliable energy in a reckless rush to renewables. We've taken our greatest economic advantage and we've deliberately sabotaged it, giving ourselves an energy price and supply crisis just to please the United Nations and to play some emotive politics. It's created enormous economic damage and it's done nothing for the environment because global emissions continue to rise. In fact, it's hurt the environment because renewables projects are rolling out all around the country, destroying the countryside. The switch to dense, reliable, emissions-free nuclear energy is so logical and necessary that I'm convinced it'll happen in Australia someday. There's no way we will get anywhere close to net zero without it. You only have to look at what happened in Spain this week to see how unstable and risky a heavy dependence on renewables can be. We need baseload power, and if we don't want carbon emissions, the only answer is nuclear. The Coalition hasn't campaigned hard enough on this. Too many Australians don't understand where we're heading, that a renewables plus storage model hasn't worked anywhere else. In fact, no other country is stupid enough to even be trying it. Too many people believe Labor's lies. Peter Dutton made this concession about his campaign today.
We should have called out Labor's lies earlier on. That's something I've commented on before. But again, I think Australians, as time has gone on through this campaign, and they've seen the negative ads and they'll see the posters, etc., as they go to the polling booths, people are smarter than that.
Now, through the campaign, I've showed a number of crucial questions. Whether people are better or worse off after 3 years of Labor, whether Labor has secured power and cut electricity prices, whether Labor is curbing spending, public service numbers and union power, and do they have security, defence and immigration under control? Also, would people prefer Labor's 70 cents a day tax cut in July next year, or the Coalition's 25 cents a litre off fuel tax immediately, plus a $1,200 offset or rebate for low and middle income earners? Now, the other question I raised was whether Labor has taken any responsibility for its failings, whether it would front up for interviews. And they haven't. Just pathetic. Now, the polls have told a worrying story for the Coalition throughout the campaign. On two-party preferred terms, the Coalition clawed back its lead over 2.5 years, and it went into this year at least level and in front in some polls. But during the campaign, instead of consolidating, they've fallen behind Labor. Labor's primary vote still hovers around record lows, mind you. It's a pox on both their houses, and preferences from minor parties will play an influential role. I think the Coalition will do better than the polls suggest. It'll be touch and go in many seats. And if the Coalition can pick up 10 to a dozen seats, they'll have put themselves within striking distance next time. Obviously, they could go further and form government. But Albanese has said he's all about winning majority government. So if he falls into minority government, he'll have failed by his own metric. And he might start thinking seriously about Copacabana.